Welcome to a special field-based episode of Every Rock Has a Story. 600 million years in just 10 minutes. Let's take a look at the bedrock geologic map of Massachusetts. The first two stops will be in the Boston Basin, part of a lost continent that was once part of Africa before it was gobbled up by the tectonic collisions that shaped New England 380 million years ago. Stop number 3 straddles the northern border fault of the Boston Basin, where we will see a unique Jurassic Age feature. Then stops 4 and 5 are within the metamorphic roots of the ancient Acadian mountains that once rose as high as the Himalaya. Finally, during the last ice age, just 25,000 years ago, all of Massachusetts was covered by an enormous continental ice sheet. We will find what those glaciers left behind. Let's go!
All right, welcome to the first stop on our tour. This is the Arnold Arboretum, right in Boston, Massachusetts, and we're in a little quarry here. This is an old quarry where they used to mine this rock that you can see in this rubble pile. A lot of this rock was used to build the buildings at Boston College and other places around the city of Boston. This is the Roxbury Conglomerate. But there's another place right over the hill here where we can see even more clearly what this rock looks like. So let's walk on over there. So this outcrop is the Roxbury Conglomerate. Great place for climbing. But you can see it's got great big clasts like this one here. Smaller ones like that guy or that guy or that guy. All different sizes of round clasts, angular clasts. These rocks were laid down at about 580 million years ago, right at the very, very tail end of the last snowball Earth. So this is a spectacular outcrop of the Roxbury Conglomerate. It tells the story of the meltout of the last giant snowball Earth. Okay, so we're out here at the Sea Cliffs in East Point in Nahant. And yes, the cliffs are dangerous, so if we were walking, I'd say stay behind the guardrail here. But let's walk along the cliffs this way just a bit. These cliffs are made out of at least 2 different rock types, sedimentary rocks and igneous rock called basalt. Okay, so I've climbed down the cliffs a little bit now to where we find the slope of the sedimentary rocks. These sedimentary layers are all dipping down like this, and they're very, very clearly layered. These are fine grained mudstones. And what's really interesting about these mudstones are these features. This is actually a Cambrian aged worm burrow of a burrowing organism called a Tychichnus. This is a Tychichnus trace fossil. So we know, because of these Tychichnus trace fossils, these are Cambrian age mudstones. The basalts cut across them, so they're younger. The last thing we're going to look for at another location is one other type of fossil that might be found in this area. Okay, so we've come down to this location, and you can see here these rocks are much more light in color. They're much more of a white to a pale gray, maybe a slight greenish tint. And let's see if we can see, without any shadow, the carbonate rock fizzing when I put this acid on. Here we go. Can you see that fizz? The early Cambrian was where we found the first ever hard parts, the first ever hard fossil remains of life. This is the indication of this great boom of paleontological discovery, because before the Cambrian, there were hardly any fossil remains that we could see. Here, right where my pen is, and we've got a close-up for later on, you can see what are remains of tiny shells called small shelly fossils. I promise you, I didn't do that. Okay, I'm here at Middlesex Fells Reservation in Medford. We've come up out of the Boston Basin, and we're now just going into the huge cliffs of the northern border fault that separates the Boston Basin from the high ground further to the north. We would probably call this rock a diabase. Let me take a good sample of it right here. Gloves, goggles, all of it. This is a long north-south trending valley filled with that mafic igneous rock called Diabase. This was a failed rift of the Mesozoic opening up, where the more successful rift ended up becoming the Atlantic Ocean. So this was a failed, woulda, coulda, shoulda been Atlantic Ocean right here in eastern Massachusetts, 190 million years ago. There's a great lookout tower up there where we can look out over the entire Boston Basin. So let's walk up that way and take a look.
Now look down at the Boston Basin, part of a lost continent, rifted apart from Africa almost 200 million years ago.
All right, I'm here in Littleton, Massachusetts. We've gone far west from where we were last, and we're going to go to find a place called Tophit Chasm and look at the rocks along the way. Some amazing stories that we'll see right down this path. Let's go. Those glaciers carried large boulders from way up north and dropped them off down here. Those boulders are called glacial erratics. That's what every single one of these boulders is out here. These were carried for hundreds of miles by the continental glaciers. Here we are at Tophit Chasm. We go back to the last ice age, 25,000 years ago, and again, we've seen plenty of evidence for that ice age out here with all those glacial erratics. It turns out that there was a giant glacial lake filled with meltwater called Glacial Lake Nashua, and it was over there. The hypothesis for the formation of Tophit Chasm was that at some point, the ice, which was on this side, and that high ridge called Oak Hill on that side, they were holding in Glacial Lake Nashua, and at some point the ice melted back and left a little opening, and through that opening a giant waterfall formed right over there and catastrophically drained all of Glacial Lake Nashua. Okay, we're in the bottom of Tophit Chasm now, and you can see over there, high on that side, all the way high here. This is the head wall. That's where the waterfall would have been coming down right past where I am. You can imagine out here, Yoda in these swamps. Welcome to the Bolton Lime Quarry in Bolton, Massachusetts. Now you can see this quite large abandoned quarry filled in with sort of the swampy water. We're going to go around to the far side and take a look at what the rock was to see what they were taking out of this quarry. Let's go. A rock with these nice coarse crystals that's soft with a knife and fizzes in acid. This is called marble. Marble is what you get when you take limestone, like the limestone we saw back at the sea cliffs near the ocean with the small shelly fossils. When you take that limestone and you push it up into giant mountains and cook it high temperatures, squeeze it to great pressures, these rocks are part of the deep roots of the ancient Akkadian mountains, mountains that were once as high as the Himalaya, about 380, 350 million years ago. So they've been quarrying out this marble, this former limestone. The question is, why were they quarrying it? And it's loaded with a mineral called calcite. Calcite is what limestone is made of. It's what marble is made of. You bring your limestone or your marble, you put it into the kiln, and then you cook it. You roast it at very, very high temperatures. The formula for calcite is CaCO3. And what happens is CO2 gas, carbon dioxide gas, gets burned away and released out of the limestone, and what you have left behind is just CaO, and that white powder is called lime. Calcium oxide, CaO, that's lime. What do we do with lime? Lime is the critical primary ingredient in cement. I hope you enjoyed this virtual field trip, and I wish in the future that you could come and see some of these places for yourself in person. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.